Aquatail forces the opponent's first protection. It's all down to the low health Serperior to clean up. Serperior hits the field of play, fires off the aerial ace. Aerial ace forces the opponent's final protect shield. Serperior rapidly running out of HP. We go straight for the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant picks up that one shot. The opponent with 2 low health Pokemon themselves. Back out comes Corviknight. The opponent looks for the Sand Attack farm down. Serperior holds strong. Who was worried? Evidently I was, but we take that game. Welcome back to the channel, a place I like to call the home of Shadow Pokemon. Recently we had a fantastic release of new Shadow Pokemon and I'm currently working my way through testing them all out in the Go Battle League. For those of you that don't know me, I was actually the first documented trainer in the world to reach Legend only using Shadow Pokemon. Every single battle of the entire season, I did that way back in Season 8 and I then did it 6 seasons consecutively, running nothing but Shadow Pokemon for 2 years straight. I'm sure you've seen a lot of other content creators already release a video with Shadow Serperior. However, unlike them, I won't be padding out with 2 very boring, very bulky meta Pokemon, saving it 2 shields and telling you it's fantastic. I'm going to be doing what I do best, running a full Shadow team and giving it an honest review. Currently, when it comes to Shadow Grass types, we're kind of spoilt for choice. We've already got a lot of different options, stuff like Meganium, Venusaur, Jumpluff, Cacturne, Blossom, Shiftry, just to name a few off the top of my head. So where does Serperior rank amongst them? Right off the bat, we're off to a good start, as Serperior, much like stuff like Sceptile and Venusaur, has access to that busted Comday move of Frenzy Plant that hits like a truck and is one of the very best moves in the game. T-building today wasn't all that complicated. I thought I'm just going to put 2 answers for both flying and fire respectively with Quagsire and Sableye, both with that rock type coverage. As always, we've yapped for far too long, so without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we lead Shadow Serperior into Annihilate, a top meta threat. Another positive with Serperior is we've got access to Aerial Ace that will be hitting these fighters for super effective. When it comes to grass types, I think what makes some of them stand out from others is their coverage move. Back in the day, Tangrowth was an absolute monster due to having access to Rock Slide long before it was nerfed. And in game 1, you can see we're going to force both Protect Shields off this ape, giving us a 2-0 shield advantage. Serperior off to a good start. I send out Sableye. The opponent is boosted, so I'm going to invest 1 Protect Shield here. The opponent fire off the Rage Fist, then pivot into Dugong. We've got 2 answers for Ice Sableye. With the buff move of Power Gem, it was buffed a few seasons ago. Going to hit for a lot of damage. It rocks Dugong deep into the red health range. My Shadow Sableye is heavily excelled, all the way at level 49.5. We're able to tank the Icy Wind. I'm going to bank a bucket of energy, send out Quagsire Slide with a couple of mud shots. We've got energy here, there, and everywhere. The opponent's like, no thank you, they concede the match, and we're off to a 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. All grass types are going to be very good in this very annoying Mud Slap meta we've currently found ourselves in. The opponent say switches into Talonflame. I go straight for the Aquatail, and the reason for that is if the opponent goes for a Brave Bird after the Incinerate damage, it would knock us out, and I just want to get off some chip damage. The opponent actually go for the Fly. Quagsire able to hang on, obtain us a shield advantage here in the mid game. The opponent even opts to dump energy immediately, meaning they're going to be unable to reach another charge move. Sableye comes in, gets a very nice running start at the cost of only tanking 1 Incinerate. Marowak re-enters the field of play, and we're going to fire off 4 Shadow Claws and the Foul Play for optimal fast move timing. The Bone Club's going to be reached after 4 Mud Slaps. We throw 1 further Shadow Claw and catch it onto Serperior, where it's going to do minimal damage. The opponent sends out Toxapex. Most pure grass types are very, very bad into Toxapex. Toxapex are very, very bulky. But Shadow Serperior with access to that busted move of Frenzy Plant instantly puts them below half health. The opponent continuing to farm up. It looks like they're committing to the full farm down. We're going to fire off the next Frenzy Plant, forcing the final Protect Shield. Sableye with a 2-0 shield advantage can easily come in, double shield the Brine. The only potential lose con for me would allowing the opponent to make a catch. Of course, we're never going to allow that to happen. The opponent fires off the next Brine, attempt the catch, they don't get it. We Shadow Claw farm all the way down, and we're going to throw the BM Power Gem, because they absolutely hate Toxapex and Mud Slappers, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see the Hot Air Balloon in the lead. A pretty bad matchup for us. We instantly pivot into Sableye, baiting out Dugong. An argument here could be made that I could throw the Foul Play bait as Dugong users love to shield the first move. My playstyle is more like fuck about and find out, full send the nuke and force the Protect Shield or guarantee the big damage. An Icy Wind would be survivable from there, but I'd be unsure after tanking it if I'd reached the Power Gems. I'm happy to match Protect Shield, looking to get this Dugong much lower. If we left that Dugong healthy, my back two Pokemon would take too much damage trying to remove it from the field of play. I farm up, throw the Power Gem on the CMP type, putting them in a perfect farm down range for Serperior. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down, pivot back out into the balloon. We bank a bucket of energy and catch the Ice Wind onto the Quagman. Using a 2-turn move like Mud Shot into a 3-turn move like Astonish, you should actually throw, after 1, 4 or 7, I actually throw that at suboptimal timing, because if I don't, the opponent will be able to debuff me before I get off any damage whatsoever. The opponent tanks the Aqua Tail, and it's all down to Serperior to clean up. We come in, throw 4 Vine Whips and the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace removes the balloon from the field of play. Serperior, below half health. Can we nuke what's in the back? The opponent waits out their clock, send out Gator. Waiting their clock only means one thing. The opponent's going to try and make a catch. They don't get it. We leave with the double Frenzy Plant, and that is going to be all she wrote. Serperior popping off. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Pidgeot on the lead. We are ABA weak to this thing. As Sableye will be hitting the double resisted, but the opponent's got an even harder answer for this. I actually know this opponent. We played in Liverpool Regionals 2020-24. Shout out Spiel, and he very much is the algorithm confirmed. Wigglytuff gets the full tap tap charm down farm down. I send back out to Serperior. I know Shadow Pidgeot is an insanely glassy Pokemon, so I'm actually going to try and shield once. Fully Vine Whip farm down, looking to double Frenzy Plant the returning bird. Unfortunately, we're unable to get it, and at this point, this game is already signed, sealed, and delivered. We're going to concede the match and say GG's and move swiftly on. Heading into the next battle, we see Shiny Guzzlord in the lead. If you look at my team composition, you'd think this thing beats the entirety of the team. However, resisted Frenzy Plant, that is actually better DP than a neutral Aerial Ace, already rocks them below half health. The opponent's going to return fire with the Brutal Swing, which we're able to survive and even reach the departing Aerial Ace. This Aerial Ace won't quite be lethal, but we'll put them low, and we actually force a Protect Shield. Instead of conceding a farm down, we're going to pivot into the Quagman. The opponent fires off one further Brutal Swing. I'm hoping after throwing 4 Mud Shots that this Aqua Tail will be lethal. However, spoiler alert, it's not, and I feel very sad. There was me earlier claiming that Guzzlord wasn't too bad for this team, and it's already deleted 1.5 Pokemon and forced a Protect Shield. Quagsire shielded up the Brutal Swing, Mud Shot farm down, and Dugong hits the field of play. We're full sending the Stone Edge. Stone Edge goes unshielded, rocking them deep into the red health range. Quagsire still not done. Gonna fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail forces the Protect Shield. Clearly the opponent wants to debuff my third. I remember this battle. I actually make a mistake. I send out Sableye, make the catch back onto Serperior, but the issue here is the opponent's doubled up. So what I should have done is tank the first one and look to catch the second. Because I've done it the wrong way around, I'm now permanently debuffed for the third. Out comes Toxapex. Shadow Sableye hits pretty hard, as we got 1 Shadow Claw running start. As long as 3 foul plays are lethal, we're still going to get out of the woods, but you should always look to play as clean as you can, and that was definitely a misplay on my part. Thankfully, Toxapex is hitting for resisted with a Poison Jab, not applying too much fast swing pressure on their very, very slow to charge moves. That wasn't a CMP tie. I'm now doubled up as long as the opponent doesn't make the catch, which they don't. Sableye will be able to power us through. But I'm kind of sad how I played that game, but it is what it is. You can't play perfectly all the time, and I make far too many mistakes, but we managed to get away with a dub. In the next battle this time, we see Dugong in the lead position. I don't often bait, but this is the easiest bait of my GBL career. Dugong shields this 101 times out of 100, as they're going to look to debuff me. After shielding up the Icy Wind in return, once again I'm going to throw a suboptimal timing, just so the opponent doesn't try to make any catch. After throwing after 2 Vine Whips, I can literally see the Ice Shell animation as I'm throwing my charge move. The opponent goes all in on Dugong, opt to instant throw. So the counts for Icy Wind and draw on respectively are going to be 5, 4, then 5. So I can send out a Sableye, fire off 7 Shadow Claws and the Foul Play. There's no need to Power Gem, as Foul Play will be lethal and will also give me a 1 residual Shadow Claw running start. Out comes Azumarill. My god, this opponent must be so fun at parties. An absolute BBML slave. We fire off the Power Gem does some decent chip damage, and then we make the pivot into the Quagman. Quagsire has some very nice bulk for a Shadow Pokemon. We can tank any one move, even on the off chance they're on Hydro Pump, that is survivable. The opponent actually fires off the Ice Beam. They opt to throw yet another Ice Beam, and I'm thinking you might be weak to Quag in the back, so I invest the final Protect Shield. I then heavily overfarm. The opponent pivots out into Charger Bug. Charger Bug not going to appreciate the Stone Edge. Stone Edge does massive damage, but unfortunately not enough to knock out. We're going to overfarm, fire off the Aqua Tail. Just before the opponent reaches the X-Scissor, back out comes Azumarill. We commit to the Stone Edge, knowing the opponent's going to need to double up, which they can't do, but they'd have to overfarm enough to move both Quagsire and Sableye. We Stone Edge them and take that game. Despite Mudshot being reworked a couple of seasons ago, I still think Quagsire is a pretty decent pick. It's not as overpowered as it once was, but still a very solid pick in the current meta. In the next battle, we see Miltank in the lead position. We fire off the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant does big damage. The opponent actually pauses here. So that tells me they've likely got Ice Beam. We are going to shoot at the Ice Beam. I could knock them out of an Aerial Ace, but I'm thinking I really don't want to throw at such a low health Pokemon. I very rarely 2-shield my lead, but this is Serperior Showcase. We're going to make an exception and look to start nuking the back line. We are down both Protect Shields. However, I've got so much energy. Out comes Drifblim. Frenzy Plant is resisted, but trust me, it won't look resisted if it goes unshielded. We force a Protect Shield, make the pivot into Quagsire. The opponent banks some energy and then send Marowak onto the field of play. I'm not going to complain, sending out your Mudslap user into my loaded water type. The first Aqua Tail goes unshielded, the opponent absolutely sacked Marowak, putting all their hopes and dreams on the hot air balloon. The opponent is going to fire off the Icy Wind, which will be lethal from this range. We're going to send out Sableye. Sableye is going to pace at exactly the same speed, so when the balloon reaches the next Icy Wind, I throw it instantly, winning the charge attack priority. Foul play, force the Protect Shield. We're going to snipe him in the middle of the next Astonish, fire off that Frenzy Plant, and Serperior is a Drifblim counter confirmed. You heard it here first. In the next battle, once again we see Annihilate in the lead position. We saw this matchup the very first battle of the video. How I played that was take my 2-0 shield advantage. However, as I've just powered this Serperior up, I'm going to see if I invest one Protect Shield, can I actually make triple Aerial Ace? We shield at the Rage Fist, fire off the first Aerial Ace, we pause a turn, ensuring this next Aerial Ace lands on its intended target. And looking at my HP, I think the opponent is going to be forced to throw, so we definitely could win the 2-shield scenario. However, I'm not on alignment Andy, so I've got no intention of shielding such a low health mon. Instead, I'm going to take my shield advantage. I'm going to send out Sableye. This ape is 2-stage boosted, so this charge move is going to hurt. However, at 3:40 in the morning, I was like, if they're really an ape, they're very unlikely to have a grass type in the back, as they'd be ABA weak to Talonflame and flyers in general. So what I'm trying to say is I thought Quagsire would cook the back line. Out comes Dugong, so prediction might be a good one. Ice Wind doesn't hit particularly hard, but I believe it's Bastion in the back, as this is a team that Jason posted is very annoying and very common. So with that in mind, I was believing the Icy Wind would be the hardest hitting move left in the game. We maximise our farm, throwing the Aqua Tail on the CMP type. Is it Wallface? Come on trainer, send it out. It's actually not, it's Clodsire, but regardless, it's still a pretty good situation. The opponent tries to make a catch. We've got the double Aqua Tail and a foul play. The game's over, the opponent recognise it and concede the match. In the next battle, we see the mighty Blue Mouse in the lead. Hello Azumarill, nice to see you nice. The opponent save switches into Annihilate, and we've got a very hard answer for that in the form of our Sableye. I didn't switch particularly quickly, but we're still going to be able to maintain alignment. The opponent invests a Protect Shield, looking to flip switch. Nah, I don't think that's happening. I'm happy to match Protect Shields. We are going to be able to Shadow Claw farm down, and we're actually very low, which is best case scenario. Azumarill re-enters the arena. I do instant throw this Power Gem. Unsure if I'd survive the bubble. We actually deny him and survive the bubble, getting off a couple more Shadow Claws, certainly putting them into Frenzy Plant range. As my switch was pretty slow, like a potato in the mid game, we had residual energy, meaning we're able to outpace Azumarill to the Frenzy Plant. The opponent's continuing to stay in. Are they ABA weak? We are going to respect the Ice Beam. The opponent then sends out Corsola. This is just going to be a testament to just how hard a Shadow Serperior hits. We fire off the Frenzy Plant, massive damage. We then pivot into the Quagman. The opponent farming up a bucket load of energy, allowing me to reach the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail removes them from the field of play. Azumarill doesn't have enough in the tank to remove both my remaining Pokemon, and the opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. We save switch into Sableye, and out comes Wigglytuff. Sableye used to be a good save switch, but so many people are relying on stupid fast move pressure, stuff like Astonish, Charm, Mud Slap, so Sableye is more high risk, high reward. I personally love it still, however sometimes you're just going to get wrecked by a stupid Charmer on the counter switch. We send out Serperior. Icy Wind does hit for super effective, does do a lot of damage, however of course with Talonflame there's no point in shielding. We're going to fire off the Aerial Ace, picking up the knockout, and Quagsire is tasked with doing all the heavy lifting. If I want any chance to win this game, I'm obliged to shield this up. Even if they flame charge bait, it kind of is what it is. The opponent pivots out into an Annihilate. Unfortunately, that thing's just going to have too much fast move pressure for me. The opponent tanks the first Aqua Tail. We are going to be able to reach Aqua Tail number 2, but you can see these counters are shredding through Quagsire's HP. I am going to invest this Protect Shield. I think there's pretty much a slim to no chance of me winning this battle. However, Switch Timer pops up. We're going to farm up, make the catch, back onto Serperior, but unfortunately Quagsire is just far too low. After making the catch, I'm going to say, GG's buddy, you've got me, and we're going to move on to the next battle. And we're not off to a good start, although in fairness, despite Corviknight having the same typing as Skarmory, it's nowhere near as bad. The Steel Wings would be tearing through us, whereas the Sand attacks are resisted. I'm not saying it's a good matchup, but it's not the worst. Azumarill's brought in to answer our Sableye. I land the Power Gem, the opponent is going to need to play rough to knock me out. I looked to call the Ice Beam, unfortunately the opponent was not baiting. However, to be honest, this isn't a bad situation to be in. We're going to see how much an Ice Beam does. To be honest, not all that much. The opponent's never bubble farming us down afterwards. We're also going to be able to vomit farming down, leaving at 100 energy. The opponent saves Azumarill on 1 HP and a Dream and send Corviknight back into the arena. We bank all of our energy and send out the Quagman. Corviknight's only recently been released, so I'm not too familiar with this matchup. You can see it looks like 2 Aqua Tails won't quite be lethal, but even single resisted Mud Shots are starting to add up. I perhaps can Mud Shot them into range where an Aqua Tail will be lethal. I farm up close to 100 energy before unleashing the next Aqua Tail. Even if this goes unshielded, we should be able to Mud Shot farm down afterwards. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down, once again pivot out into Annihilate. We fire off the Aqua Tail. The opponent makes a huge mistake shielding when they really don't need to. It's all down to the low health Serperior. With 100 energy to clean up, Serperior hits the field of play, fires off the Aerial Ace, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We reach the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant going to be massive overkill. Can we farm down the 2 remaining low health Pokemon? Back out comes Corviknight. We reach the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will be lethal. The question is, does one Vine Whip knock out Azumarill? Yes, it does. Who was worried? Me. I was very worried, but we're able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see yet another Kentucky Fried Chicken, a Bird of Death. We instantly pivot into Sableye, and I think you should always go straight for the foul play. I've got a rank 1 Sableye, so if I commit to the Power Gem, at first it would be Alignment, or it would be CMP. Alignment's dreadful. CMP is also pretty bad, as that would be a charge attack priority I'd lose. I'm able to obtain myself a shield advantage. I am going to be switch locked, so I'm going to fully wait out my clock, and of course send out the Quagman. A Serperior isn't going to fancy tanking the boosted Incinerate. I give the Protect Shield back, shielding up the fly. I'm actually going to go straight for this Aqua Tail. I could have overfarmed by 2 more, but I didn't want the opponent to potentially switch out, saving this Talonflame for later, as that thing would be a headache. The opponent sends out Azumarill. We're going to fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge going to do some decent chip damage. I'm then going to wait for the opponent to dump energy and make the pivot into Serperior. We'll survive any one move. Let's see what the opponent throws. They go for the Ice Beam, putting us into the red. We make the pivot into Serperior, and out comes Toxapex. So it makes sense now why the opponent wasn't too phased by my Serperior, as they had 2 very good answers. We've seen Serperior can more than fight back in this battle. As the opponent switched quite slowly, if I correctly shield up a Sludge Wave, which I do, we are actually going to be able to win the 1 shield scenario, farm up to the double Frenzy Plant. I'm really hoping a Frenzy Plant plus Aerial Ace is lethal. Look at the damage, I'm thinking I don't think that'll be the case. So up for the safe play, going for the double Frenzy Plant. This is again where I make a huge mistake. I'm thinking I'm going to have enough in the tank to reach a charge move. I very quickly realise I'm going to get Bubble Farm down, make the pivot into Quagsire, and I've hard thrown a game. They look kind of hard countered. We definitely could have won that. I should have instantly pivoted into the Quagman and looked to reach the Stone Edge. Oh man, Jamie Finn, you are a potato. It kind of is what it is, of course. We're just powering up new Pokemon, seeing what they can do, and sometimes misplays are going to happen. But the advantage you've got is you can see how Serperior plays. So you're going to have a bit of base knowledge before testing it out yourself. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. Azumarill. The opponent safe switches into Annihilate. I throw the Aerial Ace, anticipating a shield. The opponent doesn't invest that Protect Shield, but that's fine. We can just send out Sableye, tank the Rage Fist, and commit to the full Shadow Claw farm down. Azumarill won't even be able to bubble farm me down, meaning they're going to have to dump energy. We fire off the Power Gem. Power Gem puts them down to around a 3rd health. The opponent does indeed throw their energy here. Ice Beam removes me from the field of play. We are going to be temporarily switch locked. Switch timers are misaligned, so I let my timer call off. We send out Serperior, and out comes Corsola. We've already seen that a Frenzy Plant just does ridiculous damage if it goes unshielded. The opponent doesn't respect the damage, and we make the pivot into the Quagman. Quagsire can tank any one move. We've already seen that after landing a Frenzy Plant, they're in Aqua Tail range. We're going to farm up, throw the Aqua Tail, looking to move them from the field of play, but likely forces the final protection. Azumarill wants no part of Serperior. I kind of shield either Pokemon, but we're going to put all our hopes and dreams on Serperior. I've just powered it up and it needs some screen time. Serperior re-enters the arena. The opponent recognises they're going to get Vine Whip farm down. Send out a Azumarill into the loaded Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant, massive overkill. We're going to Vine Whip farm down Corsola and take that game. In the next battle, we see Morpeko in the lead. I think this Pokemon's very much like Dugong. You can get away with Aerial Acing. You can see these Vine Whips are doing ridiculous damage. And Morpeko and Dugong users have one thing in common. They love to shield everything. However, despite me saying that, we're still force ending on the off chance the opponent doesn't shield. The opponent invests that Protect Shield. And at this point, we are just going to go for the Aerial Aces. Aerial Ace would probably knock them out as this thing cannot tank a hit to save its life. Serperior once again forces us a 2-0 shield advantage. The opponent throw the Aura Wheel, so they're back to an electric type. They are boosted, however I am shielding. I would survive an electric Aura Wheel, but a C-Bomb I would not. I recognise the opponent's cool tech. They then send out Quagsire. 2 Aqua Tail, Shadow and Shadow Crime, after the rework to Mud Shot, are actually lethal. You can see these Mud Shots do actually add up over time. I run a very good rank Quagsire. It's like a rank 15 or something. So I recognise I'm likely going to lose CMP. So I throw the charge move, one quick move before the opponent reaches the Aqua Tail. Not wanting to get trapped into the CMP type, I do not win. We remove the Quagsire from the field of play. The opponent sends out Jumpluff. We pivot into Sableye. They only go for an Aerial Ace, which is easily survivable. I'm going to anticipate the opponent looking to make a catch at some stage. There's the attempted catch. We commit to the resisted Shadow Claw farm down, which we get. Jumpluff re-enters the arena just to get hit to the face with a Power Gem. Power Gem is super effective, although the opponent able to survive. However, that's okay. We've still got a shield and reached the foul play, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. It looks like the opponent very annoyingly force closed the app. I think Sableye looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. If anyone is old like me and played the Sega Mega Drive, you know when you hold down the button and it spins into a little ball? That's what Sableye looks like. In the next battle, we see a great lead. The opponent safe switches into Corviknight and I opt to send out Sableye. I think I'll go to either Pokemon. But Quagsire is very good into Unova Stunfisk as well, so I don't really need switch. I'm just using Sableye to do as much damage as I physically can. We land the foul play, rocking them into the red health range. The opponent is able to outpace, but that's okay. We're just going to come in with a Quagman and look to load up on energy. Quagsire hits the field of play. I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail from this range will be lethal, and we've got a very nice running start for whatever they send out. Likely Ufisk, as Ufisk is fully walled by Serperior. At least they can hit for neutral with the mud bombs. The opponent, to my surprise, invests the Protect Shield, fire off the payback. We commit to the world's most aggressive Mud Shot farm down. Oof, that's nasty. As expected, this little pancake re-enters the field of play, but Quagsire so far ahead in energy, fires off the first Aqua Tail. We then overfarm, look to fire off the next one, but the opponent's had enough and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Annihilate once again in the lead position. This one is the Shadow variant. I'm hoping I can just tank the Rage Fist and reach the double Aerial Ace. The opponent shields the first. Let's see how much this does. Oof, too much. We aren't reaching the next one, so I aggressively pivot into Sableye. The opponent stays in. To get off the boosted Rage Fist, I am going to shield this up and look to Shadow Claw farm down if the opponent doesn't pivot. The opponent gives me a massive farm down, but it did cost me half my health. Out comes Drapion. Drapion going to be greeted with the Power Gem. Drapion gets rocked below half health. The opponent then makes a mistake, throwing an Aqua Tail. My Sableye is a perfect 0-15-15. I know I survive. I look to undertap the foul play, but the opponent opt to catch it onto the barrel. That works for me as Shadow and Shadow Crime. That just does so much damage. If I send out Serperior here, we just get rollout farm downs. We just send out Quagsire. This game's just over. We can tank any one move. In fairness, that was the hardest hitting move in the game, but regardless, we tank the damage. Vine Whip farm down, back out comes Drapion. We reach the Aqua Tail. We've got a Stone Edge banked on Quagsire. The opponent recognises the game's over and they concede the match. GG's and thanks for playing. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's video. So, Shadow Serperior. I actually would put it along with Venusaur. I don't think Venusaur is a top meta threat. However, I think it is a very good Pokemon if you've got the balls to use it. I think Serperior is very much in the A category. One of the very best Shadow Grass types you can run. So if you've got a good IV, I'd recommend running it. You can see in neutral situations that Frenzy Plant is just ridiculous. It's also nice against other grass types. I think Aerial Ace, although it isn't the best move, is nice coverage for a grass type, giving it the ability to hit back against common fighters and opposing grass types. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.